Yes, turn to somebody and say, I'm on your side. Turn to somebody, I'm on your side. Right? It's good to see you, Cynthia. Good morning, everyone. Doesn't it feel good to know that there is someone on your side? Come on, just breathe into that. Doesn't it feel good to know there is someone on your side? Now, we experience it through one another as one manifestation of it. That is one way that we experience this feeling that I am on your side, that someone's got your back. We also experience it within as we commune and go deep within the experience of the divine that is present within each and every one of us. And then we express it into this outer world. Now, I've just incorporated one of Deanne's upcoming services and the class that she's doing on the three faces of God, because this is how we express and manifest God in the world. We need to know it within, we need to know it through each other, and then we need to bring it out into the greater world. Now, this month has all been about sacred service, today being about the commitment and honoring our sacred commitments. Don't let my notes go away, even though I think I know what I want to say. It's good to have them handy. You know how that is, right? It's good to have them handy. There are 4 things that I believe happen when we dedicate ourselves to being of service. We learn more about ourselves. We have a deeper trust in the goodness of the universe. We expand our horizons, and it feels good.
Amen.
Right? Amen to that. Because we want to have fun, we want it to feel good as well. So we learn more about ourselves, we get a deeper trust in the goodness of the universe, and we expand our horizons, and it feels good. These are all wonderful reasons for us to commit ourselves to being in sacred service and being an expression of the divine in our individual lives and in our world. So I want to start here with another important piece, some words of truth. You ready for some words of truth? All right. I am blessed and highly favored. Now breathe into that. We're going to start it at the transcendent, the out level of the we, and then we're going to look at somebody and say you, and then we're going to take it to the I. So let us start with, we are blessed and highly favored. Now you know, Charles Fillmore said in a talk in 1922, when it came to that point in time in the service where he was asking people to join him in an affirmation, he said, some of you didn't say that very loudly. I'm going to invite you to do it again. We are, together, we are blessed and highly favored. And then look at someone else and say to them, you are. You are blessed and highly favored. And then now say it about yourself. I am blessed and highly favored. Can I get an amen on that? Amen. Right?
Hallelujah.
Tyler and I were chatting a moment before the service. He said, you know, I'll be back there just going like that with you. So what happens for me is I get up and I start channeling my grandmother. You know, this is what happens for me. Just every week I just start channeling my grandmother, because that was the influence for me in my life. Going to the few times when I would see her, we weren't in proximity. So when we would see her, she would take us all to church with her. And we went to Black Southern Baptist Church because that is part of my heritage. My father's side of the family is African American, Native American, and this was the experience we always had of being in church. You know, is that people participated.
Amen. Amen. Bring it on.
People participated because this is how we manifest and know the divine in our lives, as we participate in it. Participate in it when we are together in the experience that we are having with one another right now. We participate in it when we go out these doors and into the rest of the city and the things that we are doing. We participated in all ways. So I want to talk a little bit about learning more about yourself through sacred service. You have gifts, talents, and abilities, right?
Yes.
Do you know that you have gifts, talents, and abilities?
Yes.
Okay? You have gifts, talents, and abilities. When we put them in service to something greater than ourselves, we find out that we have a reservoir of capacity that we didn't even know really existed. Because the more we use it, the more it deepens, the more we realize that we have it. Now, I did not know I had a gift for hospitality. I did not know that I had a gift for hospitality. It came to me in a very unusual kind of a way, and here's how it came to me. I became a member of a 12-step program many, many years ago, which is a whole nother story. But it was marked a definite change in my life. Okay, I would not be standing here today were it not for that experience. But I arrived in 12-step, and I was a newcomer, as they are referred to, as I was referred to. There was a need for someone to come and open up and bring the cookies and make the coffee. Someone suggested that I do that. Someone else in the group said, well, she's a newcomer. She can't possibly do that. I'm sitting there going, I'll show you. They took a group conscience and they all agreed that I would be able to be the person who would open up and have the cookies and make the coffee. Now, I did not know I had a gift for hospitality. All I know was that I needed to say yes. I said yes. I also had I'll admit it, I did have a little bit of, I'll show you going on. And I would show up every week and I arranged the napkins all beautiful. I bought color coordinated cookies, had them out looking really nice. So that when everybody made good coffee, so that when everybody would show up, there was a place to be able to receive them. Now, yes, there was some ego that was involved in that. I was a newcomer. There was some ego that was involved in it, but what happened is as the weeks went on, because I was invited to do this for 6 months, as the weeks went on, it became less about doing it for me and more about recognizing that I was facilitating the possibility for people to come together and find connection with one another. How many of you are in the welcome ministry team, often referred to as ushers and greeters? Oh, come on, that's not raising your hands. This is not raising your hand. Raise your hand, put it up there, right? You are here because this is part of what you do. Part of what you do is you receive people coming into the space. And what happens is that we learn that we have this untapped reservoir within us of compassion and of love that we can share with others. There are a variety of gifts. The Apostle Paul spoke about it in this way in 1 Corinthians chapter 12. He described it as the church being the body. That there is a hand, there are fingers, there's the legs, there's the eyes, there's the heart, there's all of these different parts that come together. In fact, here, we're going to do it this way. I know you all don't recognize this very much. It does have some good words in it. Okay, cool, because I don't want to paraphrase him. He says, there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. There are differences of administrations, but the same Lord. And there are diversities of operations, but it is the same God which works in all. He says, for one is given the spirit of the word of wisdom, to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit, to another is the same Spirit the gifts of healing, miracles, prophecy, speaking of tongues, the interpretation of. We got Paul Hasselbeck coming to talk about interpretation of, right? Paul Hasselbeck coming. For all of these, he says, the body is one and has many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Christ. Christ consciousness. That's what Jesus embodied, Christ consciousness. So this is something else that we learn about ourselves. is that we can tap on that Christ consciousness within us and pull it forward and be of service in our spiritual community and in the world. There are people who are in service here as prayer chaplains. Prayer chaplains? Yeah, prayer chaplains. Holding that sacred space. We're going to be honoring all of the different manifestations, different ways of being in service later on. Reverend Deanne will be doing that, because I'm going to overlook somebody if I try to call you all out. So there's this part where we get to learn more about ourselves. We also then get a deeper trust in the goodness of the universe, in the goodness of God, in the goodness of Spirit, in the goodness of the presence of the divine, in the face of cynicism, our own. Am I the only one? Okay, just checking. Am I the only one who gets cynical? Right? Yeah, thank you. Look right, you're not alone, okay? We all get cynical. We get jaded. We can forget about the goodness, and we can forget about the deeper trust in the goodness of the universe because we get cynical. I know I do. Happened to me. It happened to me yesterday. Yesterday. Less than 24 hours ago. Well, yeah. About 24 hours ago. I got cynical. I arrived here in San Francisco. I got checked into my place. You all put me up at the Artist Inn. I love it over there at the Artist Inn. Decided I was going to go out and get something to eat. Hadn't eaten yet. I'm walking down the street, and there was somebody sitting there saying, "Spare change for food?" Cynicism. Oh, she's not asking for it for food. Cynicism. Come on. Are we real people? We're doing some truth telling here, folks, okay? It happens to all of us. Cynicism shows up, you know? I sat down on a bench to have a conversation with my fella, and I watched cynicism parade past me. Pretending that they don't see her. I sat there and I watched it. I went ahead over to the place where I was going to go eat. I sat down outside. A few minutes later, she came to that block. And again, I watched cynicism pass by. Now, there's a group of people out here, including me, who are sitting outside eating, and every time I take a bite and I look at her and I see her, I get confronted with my cynicism. And I have to ask myself, if I'm going to be of service, is there a way that I can see and know that by being of service, that there is a deeper trust in the goodness of the universe? Now, someone came by, they handed her leftover, their pizza. They apparently had gone for pizza. They handed her this pizza box. She looked in the pizza box, closed the lid, set it down beside her. Cynicism. She set it down beside her, because I thought to myself, she didn't want food, she wants money. Someone else came along, they gave her some money. She got up, she walked away, and left the pizza box sitting there. Now, I thought to myself, God, I wonder what kind of pizza that is. You know, I could use a snack later. I continue my meal, and she moves on down a little bit farther down the block. And someone else came along, another person who seemed to be in that experience of some form of perhaps homelessness or a need. Someone else came along and scooped up the box, opened it up and went, smiled, and went on her way with it. There is a goodness in the universe that extends beyond our personal cynicism, that when we are willing to see it and we're willing to go beyond that, and if we're willing to be of service. Now, I'm going to culminate this by saying, all of you are wondering, well, did you ever give her any money? Yes, I did. Because it occurred to me that it does not matter what I think she is or isn't going to use it for, because that has nothing to do with me. That is none of my business. What is my business is how am I going to be of service and be an expression of the divine and know that there is goodness in the universe. I saw it in front of me. I thought that pizza was going to go to waste. It was picked up, carried off by someone else who needed it. Now I would have given her money anyway. I just needed to wait until I got some change so I could give her some money. You know? So there is this deeper trust in the goodness of the universe that comes to us when we say yes. And we're willing to allow ourselves to be confronted by our own inconsistencies, by our own cynicism, and let it melt away the hardness, let it soften our hearts a little bit. And then you see we've done something else. We've learned a little bit more about ourselves again. If we are of sacred service, we will expand our horizons. For we will know the presence of God in very new and different ways. For being of service will take us places, not only emotionally, not only spiritually, but it will also take us places physically that we may never have gone to had we not been willing to put our hand up and say, yes, let me be of service. Let me go out and learn and explore and be in a different way and in a different part of the world. Where's your pop-up going to be, Nelson?
Civic Center.
Pop-up over in Civic Center. Now, some of you may have been over at Civic Center for other types of parades. How many of you have been to Civic Center because you had a reason to have to be there? Yeah, you know, a ticket or some such thing. So you get to go over to be of Civic Center and expand your horizons and see Civic Center through a different set of eyes in a different way. And by the way, that is brilliant to do a pop-up. Who'd have thunk, right? Just pop up, let it be of service. And you know what happens when you pop up? You can pop up all over the place. You can pop up anywhere. And this is part of what happens when we get to be of service. We can expand our horizons and we can encourage one another. Anybody need encouragement sometimes? Yeah. Right?
Amen.
Yeah, that's part of, we already talked about the prayer chaplains. That's part of what they're here to do as well, to be of encouragement to one another. We can all be of encouragement. It's part of why we have each other turn to each other and say hello. That we're walking this journey, this beautiful song. You know, that's what friends are for. Good times, bad times. We're always here together. Being in service is a commitment also. It is a commitment to the divine. It is a commitment in the divine. You may think it is a commitment to Unity San Francisco. This is what it looks like when you think it's a commitment to Unity San Francisco on one of those bad days. Oh, I'm tired. You know, I've had a hard week. I just want to stay in bed. Do I really have to be there? You can talk yourself out of it when it looks like a commitment to Unity San Francisco. Now that doesn't mean that there aren't times when things come up and you may need to call on another friend to step in your stead. But when it looks like a commitment to Unity San Francisco, that's one of the ways on a bad day that it can look like. When it's a commitment to spirit, when it is a commitment between you and your understanding of the divine, when it is a commitment to the power and presence of God within you, when you wake up and you're a little tired, and it's that morning, and this is happening, you're saying, oh, wait a minute. I have a reservoir of strength. I have the power of God within me. I have the presence that is animating. That is what is motivating me. Oh, let me get myself over to Unity San Francisco today. That's what it looks like when it is a commitment in spirit and not a commitment to Unity San Francisco. It shows up as being at Unity San Francisco. But that's not the impetus. That's not what the commitment is about. Which ties into this last part about it feels good. When we are of service, whether it's in our job, oh, by the way, this holds true for the job too. You know those days when if you think you're being of service to the job, the commitment is to the job, it's going to feel that way. When the commitment is to the expression of the divine as through you and your spiritual gifts, you get to go up there, you get to be at work, and you get to be that bright light. You don't even have to say a word. You get to be that bright light. And when we show up and we get to be that bright light, it feels good. See? We have to remember that there is only one reason that we are here. There is only one reason we are here. And that is to know God. That's it. That is the only reason we are here, is to know God. Through the knowing of this divinity, through the knowing of God, then everything else moves out from that. We feel good about who we are and what we are doing. Thank you. Oh, say that a little louder, please. Amen. Amen. Yes. It is a good thing. It is a good thing. We feel good about who we are and what we are called to be doing in the world. And then what happens is that we receive it as reciprocal. It is reciprocal because as we are out there doing it, we are getting it back. It's getting beamed back from us. It may not get beamed back from exactly the same place that we put it, but it is going to come back. That's a guarantee. That is a guarantee that it will come back because this is the nature of the universe. It is reciprocal. It is always flowing. It is always moving. It is always pouring back unto you that which you put out. Basic metaphysics. It is always pouring unto you that which you put out. So if you're putting out worry, lack, fear, and doubt, the tsunami of worry, lack, fear, and doubt. If what we're putting out, if what you are putting out is compassion, love, peace, harmony, joy, it doesn't mean that we are oblivious to the ways that we see the opposites of that showing up. It simply means that what comes waving back to us is love, peace, harmony, and joy. Anybody like love, peace, harmony, and joy? Oh, good. Okay, you folks want that one, right? Yes. And this is what I mean about it feels good. So when the opportunity comes to you to be of service, and you know when the opportunity comes to you to be of service, by the way?
Every second.
Now. Every second. The moment you open your eyes in the morning. The minute you open your eyes in the morning, and then every moment thereafter is the opportunity to be of service. So what I want to say to you is, do not be like Moses. You all know Moses? You're familiar with Moses? Charlton Heston. Parting of the Red Sea. Right, I don't know about you, when I think of Moses, that's the image I get. Cecil B. DeMille, you know, there's a great image of Charlton Heston. We know that one of Moses. It's like, you know, it's like that part about Mother Teresa. You know, she was so wonderful, and Mother Teresa would go out and she would touch people who were considered untouchable. I love the sound of that. I think it's wonderful. It's not what I do. Now Moses, we know, parting of the Red Sea, lead the people out of Egypt, free the slaves, all of that. We know that part of the story, but here's the part of the story that you probably don't know or haven't thought about recently. When Moses has the experience and God says to Moses, I want you to go to Pharaoh and free the people, Moses does what I call the yeah but. 5 times Moses gives him reasons why he is not the guy to go free the people from Egypt. 5 times Moses says But, that's the way it's worded in my Bible. But, God said to Moses, go to Pharaoh. He says, but, who am I? And he starts to protest. God says to him, don't worry, I'll be there with you. Moses says to him, but by whose power and authority am I going? And God gives him his name. He says, tell him that the I am that I am sent you. You think that'd be good enough? Tell him that the I that I am. God even lays out the plan for him. Lays it all out. And Moses says, but what if they don't believe me? Oh my God. God says, I will empower you. God gives him signs. I will empower you with signs of my goodness, of my glory. And Moses says to him, well, but I don't speak well. I'm not eloquent. I have a stutter. And God says to him, I'll speak through you. All the reasons. God will always give you, the divine will always give you all the reasons within you why it is that you can be of service the moment your eyes open, every second of the day. It is up to us not to be like Moses and be doing, yeah, but. Okay? Our job is to say, yes, finally, Moses says to God, send someone else. And at that point, God gets pissed at him. He says, oh my God. He does. He says, oh, I'm going to send Aaron with you. Okay? So he sends him with a friend. Sends him with a friend. That's what friends are for. So if you've got a friend in God, you've got a friend in God. God will always be there with you. God will send people to go with you to make the path straight. God will always use you in ways that are beyond your wildest imagining. And then as you stand in it and you continue to say yes, you will be blessed. And know that you are blessed and highly favored, and you will know that your life has meaning and purpose. I stepped across the threshold of those rooms into a 12-step program of recovery. They put me to work. They said, let her be the secretary, let her put out the cookies. I did not know that I had a gift for hospitality. It was one of the ways that the gifts of Spirit showed up through me. And now, thank you, God, I get to stand here in front of you many years later, still walking that path, still raising my hand and saying yes, and knowing that every time that happens, every single moment, every single time that that happens, I get to grow in spirit, as do you. And so we say, thank you, God, for the blessings of our lives. Say that with me. Thank you, God, for the blessings of my life. Yeah. And so it is. So it is.